serve in the Assembly. He was then elected to the State Senate, where he held a position as Minority Leader. In 1991, Insurance Commissioner Garamendi was elected as California's Insurance Commissioner. He successfully accomplished the monumental task of implementing Proposition 103, which put into place a major reform of the auto and homeowners insurance industry in California, which incidentally resulted in rebates of in excess of $1 billion to ratepayers. Very impressive. In 1995, President Clinton appointed Insurance Commissioner Garamendi as Deputy Secretary at the U.S. Department of Interior, where his efforts led to significant environmental improvements for the nation in California. Since beginning his second term as Insurance Commissioner in 2003, Insurance Commissioner Garamendi has made the reform of California's workers' compensation insurance his top priority, and I had the privilege also of working with him on that effort. The end result was lowering costs of $5.5 billion, and he worked with the chair at that time, Juan Vargas, and did an incredibly, particularly like, and I have to be careful with this because my attorney's here today, Dave Bonacorsi, and if I say anything adverse to attorneys, he's going to raise his rates. But he's also an MBA from Harvard University. It's my great pleasure to introduce my very good friend, John Garamendi.
John, thank you very, very much. What a terrific evening this is. John, I wish you good success in all of your endeavors in the future. And I understand what campaigns are all about. Pete, it's great seeing you and sharing time with you. And for Javon, putting together this evening's event for the fourth time, bringing together all of the community and saying, we're all one. We are all sharing in the fate of this world, not only the fate of our own communities, but in the fate of the world. And we have a common goal of peace, and all of us having an opportunity to make it and to take care of each other. And in that context of taking care of each other, reaching out as this community has to the tsunami victims of Southeast Asia, it's an incredible display of compassion, and also an incredible display of what we are as human beings, that we are not alone. We are not alone in this world, that we share the fate of all of the people. And when problems happen in the extraordinary, horrendous events of that tsunami, it's not just the people in those communities, those that lost their lives and the families that have been totally destroyed and disrupted. It's us. We share their fate. And so just the meeting of tonight, where you're not only sharing the unity of this community, but the unity of each of us in this larger world. It was in 1966 that Patty and I left the University of California, graduated, and went off to spend 2 years in Ethiopia as Peace Corps volunteers, where we saw the extraordinary trauma of famines, of people unable to get enough food to even survive that particular day. Knowing that we in this country have such blessings and such opportunities, and we need to share that, and you have, America has, and Pete is quite correct, our government really needs to step up and not be number 9, but be number 1. And we, in anticipation that that will happen, will do what we can as individuals to push forward with the relief. Now, I want to share with you one other thought this evening before I turn this back to John Dutra. And that is that in order for our communities, wherever we happen to be, we have to be able to work our way up the economic ladder, both as a community and as individuals. And as I complete my 6th year as Insurance Commissioner with the years in Washington in between, I've come to the conclusion that there is no way for an individual or for a community to be able to prosper, to be able to get their foot on the bottom rung of the economic ladder and climb as high as their talents can take them, unless they have access to insurance. You can't do it. So we've put together what we call the Emerging Communities Initiative, specifically designed to provide all of us, wherever we may be in the economic circumstances of this state, and particularly focused on those who have yet to emerge up the economic ladder, focused on them, an opportunity to have access to affordable and available insurance. And we start with, I think, the most important insurance product of all, which is health care. We have to address this problem in our nation. We have yet to achieve what almost every other industrialized country of the world has achieved, and that is providing access readily and available and affordable to all of their citizens. We need to do that. So we push hard for a universal health insurance program. And outside I was talking to a couple of people. If we did this, we could eliminate workers' compensation totally. You wouldn't need workers' compensation because you're covered 24/7, 365. It would be gone, and all of that expense would be gone. Now, we're not likely to get to that place where almost every European country and Japan have gotten more than 20 years ago, but we will work towards that universal health care goal. In the meantime, we need to deal with workers' compensation. 3 years ago, during the campaign, we laid out a reform plan for reforming workers' compensation. It became the roadmap for reform. Most of that is now law, and we need to push that forward so that the potential savings are in the pockets of the businesses of the state of California so that they can grow. And this is mostly a small business issue. So we'll continue that work. And as we carry out this second part of the Emerging Communities Initiative, we will see in the businesses, the small businesses, and even the large businesses, the opportunity to spend money on wages, to spend money on expanding their plant and equipment, to grow the economy. Auto insurance in the state of California is a major problem. For those of you that have 16-year-old children, my heart goes out to you. Having 6 children, all of whom have gone through those 16-year period, I understand the problem, but I'm telling you there is also a larger problem that permeates California, and it is the problem, the pernicious, wrong-headed problem of the insurance companies causing the rates of auto insurance to be based on where you live. This is a problem for the emerging communities. We're setting up a process to end that kind of discriminatory practice in those communities of low income that always wind up paying a higher rate because they are in a certain zip code. That will end. And as we move forward, we're going to deal with the homeowners issues. We know that homeowners have serious problems. Underinsurance is pervasive. Use it and lose it is pervasive. File a claim, you will not get renewed. Those issues have got to be addressed because you cannot move up the economic ladder. You cannot buy a home if you cannot get homeowners insurance. So I'm a busy guy. We're going to be working on these issues. I want you to keep in mind, and I seek your help, I seek your advice in our Emerging Communities Initiative. And finally, for the Indo-American Community Federation, thank you. Thank you for pulling all of us together, reminding us that we are all Americans and we're all in this together. Thank you very much.
The last speaker that I'm privileged to introduce tonight is the very fine and capable gentleman who took my place in the Assembly. And we traded off by age. He's half my age. Is Alberto Tarico, my very good friend. He last served on the Newark City Council, and then just prior to the election was serving as the Vice Mayor of Newark. He's the son of immigrant parents who worked hard to give their children the opportunity that others did not have. Tarico has chosen public service as the best way to honor his parents' example by doing everything he can to give back to the community that has served his family so well. After graduating from Irvington High School in Fremont, Assemblymember Tarico attended Santa Clara University and went on to receive a law degree from Hastings in San Francisco. After law school, Assemblymember Tarico worked as an attorney, particularly for law firms in assistance of labor throughout the state to improve their lives on the job and in the communities. Assemblymember Tirico began his career as a policy aide for then Supervisor Ron Gonzalez, who subsequently became the mayor of San Jose, focusing on criminal justice and transportation issues. Tirico also serves on a number of community boards, including Second Chance, the Dango, and the advisory boards of Justice for New America and the Alameda County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And for his first term, which, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very unusual and demonstrates the high regard that the Speaker of the Assembly has for Assemblymember Tirico, he's been appointed chair of PERS, which is going to be handling a lot of the pension issues in this budget situation. Is going to be a very big deal. He also was appointed to serve on very important committees as it relates to our community: transportation, housing, and government organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce my replacement in the Assembly, Assemblymember Alberto Tirico.
Thank you very much, my good friend, Assemblymember John Dutra. I feel a little out of place this evening as the keynote speaker, I hate to follow Congressman Stark, always so eloquent, Mr. Garamendi. I also would like to introduce this evening my colleague in the State Assembly from the 18th Assembly District just north of us, Mr. Johan Claes, Assemblymember Claes. And also with us this evening is a supervisor for our area, Supervisor Scott Hagerty. Thanks for joining us this evening. For the record, Mr. Waterhouse, welcome to Newark. I am from Newark and grew up in Fremont, so just to clear the record, I want to thank Mr. Suchi for this wonderful event, this Unity Dinner, that brings so many of us together. As we look around the room, we not only see what America is becoming, but what the future holds for us, a truly diverse community. Here in the Tri-Cities, we are blessed with extraordinary diversity, from our large Indo-American community and African-American communities to our growing Latino and Asian communities. But the Indo-American Community Federation stands out as an organization that truly embraces diversity. Another organization that embraces diversity and has committed countless hours of community service and has been a leader in this community, which I want to acknowledge this evening, is the Citizens for Better Community, who are here this evening as well. The Indo-American Community Federation welcomes people of all ethnic, racial, and religious backgrounds, not only from India, but from Pakistan and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh and the rest of the subcontinent, as well as from all other countries and cultural traditions. I'm proud of our communities have come together after 9/11, as some of you may recall, that this event began after 9/11 with Mr. Suchi's vision about bringing people together as much of our country was beginning to splinter apart. Each year it's been bigger and better. This evening we have 400 people, a sold-out event. It's a dramatic testament to the way we are united to make our region a better place and to help our brothers and sisters in Asia recover from the tsunami catastrophe. With modern technology and a shrinking world and shrinking economy, the world has shrunk tremendously. When something happens in Asia or any other part of the world, we feel it here immediately. What happens there affects all of us, and there are many things that we can do here to help improve things there. So tonight, as many of you know, we're here to, in part, to send some relief to the tsunami victims. So, a lot of you have already heard my pitch for money, but this time it's not for any campaigns or for any candidates. It's for a truly worthy cause. So I encourage all of us to do what we can to help the victims from the tsunami in India and in that part of the world. I want to talk a little. I'll try to be as brief as possible. I want to talk about a couple of things that I've been reflecting on since I've been elected to the State Assembly. Earlier this week, I listened to parts of President Bush's inauguration speech. President Bush went to great lengths to talk about freedom and liberty in our country and in the world. Obviously, these are laudable goals, and they're something that we all strive for and all believe in. But there was a missing question and an elephant in the room as President Bush spoke, which is this. What about freedom in our own country? What about the freedom of the hundreds, if not thousands, of Middle Easterners that have had their freedom taken away because of the Patriot Act? What about the individuals in our society, all over our country, the poor, the downtrodden, who wish they had the freedom to go to quality schools, wish they had the freedom to afford a quality house, wish they had the freedom to become part of the middle class? What about the downtrodden in our own country? What about all of the needs of our own citizens? As we embrace the role of the world's police officer, I hope that the President embraces the role as the world's diplomat, where people around the world don't only fear us, but respect us and admire us as they once did not so long ago. In some cases, as many folks know here, the Patriot Act is discriminating against many people because of their religion or ethnic background. Although I serve in the State Assembly and have really no direct impact on the Patriot Act and federal laws, I will nonetheless be introducing a resolution in the State Assembly this year that calls for the repeal of the Patriot Act and calls attention to the ongoing stripping of civil rights for all of our citizens. Although the President was eloquent when he spoke of freedom, I remind the President of the words of Martin Luther King, when Martin Luther King said, "A threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." And that's really what we have to remember about our country and our legacy. Instead of proposing a budget that cuts $2.2 billion from education, reneging on one of your promises, instead of presenting us a budget that hits hardest children and seniors and our disabled, instead of taking away $1.2 billion from transportation and forcing us here in the Bay Area to figure out how to pay for the Bay Bridge, I hope that the governor turns the page in that book and gets a new script, a script that I wish that he would talk about more. And the script goes a little something like this. Let's talk to each other, Democrats and Republicans, the business community, the labor community, nonprofits, educators. Let's talk to one another about what we want for the future of our state and our country. I think we all can agree, and many of us as immigrants or children of immigrants understand that we came to this country first and foremost because of the economic opportunities that it affords each and every one of us. So I think between Democrats and Republicans, we can agree that the number one priority for us must be creating jobs and an economy that sustains all of us. Making sure that there's opportunity for more of our citizens and our children to join the middle class and the creation of quality jobs. This is the kind of dialogue that I want to engage with this governor. I don't want to engage in name calling. I don't want to engage in going around the state and criticizing what each other do. Let us present a vision. I am proud to be a Democrat. I repeat that. I am proud to be a Democrat because I think that we are the party that talks to the working families. Each one of you knows what you go through every day in your small businesses and your job and what your children are looking forward to. And I'll tell you something. Our children, if we continue on this road, don't have much to look forward to unless we change course dramatically. We are sacrificing the future of our children by decimating our educational system, by not funding our priorities and not getting our priorities straight. So I have been blessed and honored by the support of the Indo-American community. Let me mention a couple of folks. Dr. Salwan, the Demetro family, Mr. Suchi. I have been proud and felt embraced by the Indo-American community because I think our shared values and the things that I've just talked about the middle class and about the future of our state. So when you hear about the budget and when you hear about plans for this state, I will be coming back to you and asking you to participate and talk publicly about what you believe the needs of our state are, because I think there is a better vision for our future, I think there's a better vision for our country, and I think there's a better vision of our world. Ultimately, that's why I ran for the State Assembly, and that's why I want to make sure that my 4-year-old son and my 3-month-old baby are able to go to quality school, are able to go to college, and are able to find a good job, and God forbid, be able to buy a house right here in their own communities. I thank you, Mr. Suchi, for this event and for inviting me to be the keynote speaker. I'm honored and humbled by the request. But most of all, I repeat my call for everyone to engage in the dialogue, to and make sure that you talk about the things that we need to talk about, and that you make all of our elected officials accountable for the things that we need to talk about in the future, which is a bipartisan solution and bipartisan progress for so many problems that we have as a state and as a country. Thank you very much.
Our Fashion 2 segment presented by Divas of Rupakshi. Enjoy. To you as well as the designer. Let's have our models back on stage. Let's have all the beautiful girls back on stage. Our first model, Shauna Dillon, who's also been singing during the evening with TJ Cole. We have Parvati, current Miss Teen India Bay Area 2004. Sheena Dillon, catching up with her older sister Shauna. She already has, she's caught up in height at least, anyway. Richa, who is the first runner-up for Miss Teen India Bay Area 2004. And last but not least, Priti Patel. And I'd also like to present Rupakshi Kapoor of Divas Collection. She's the designer. And let's not forget a very dear friend of mine, Nikki Singh. And these models represent Rupakshi's line. She caters to all ages. You saw the younger kids earlier on in the first segment. She provides clothes with the East and West touch for moms as beautiful as Nikki Singh, and of course for young ladies such as the ones we have on stage. And this was a fashion show presented to TJ Cole, Sarpanch, and he's an upcoming artist here, very well known in the Bay Area and a dear friend of mine. A big hand for all of them. Thank you very much. Thank you. Rupakshi has her exhibition. There are flyers on the table. It's at Genius Kids on Sunday, January 23rd. We'd love to see all of you there. Moving on, we don't stop talent right there. The talent, the upcoming boys are just amazing. I've been watching these young guys for the past 4 years, know their mom really well. They belong to a group called Avartam. Avartam means the cycle of beats. And the boys really know how to play with the beats, which will be very evident in their dance. They've been dancing since they were 4 years old. Their group is the only all-boys winning team of the Bay Area. Abhishek, Vishal, and Tushar have been doing most of the choreography themselves, and the director is Vinita Kumar. Ladies and gentlemen, the dancing beat of the Bay Area. What can I tell you?
महबूबा बस ये जान ले महबूबा तेरा जीत के दिखलाऊंगा, पीछा ना छोड़ूंगा, चाहे जितना